Hey everyone, today we are going to be going outside the text of Genesis, and this is a video that I've been wanting to make for you guys and study with you all. Of course, I'm learning with you, so we can learn more about the background and all that we don't get to really study when we're just reading the chapter and making the video, and getting the lesson in, and the main points and the history and all that. But, so we're just going to go ahead and do that today. So before we start, open my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law. Psalm 119:18, our usual opening prayer. So to begin, Genesis means beginning in Greek. I will be doing chapters 1 through 11. I wanted to mention that just as a short. I know we're on chapter 16, but I'm gonna make this like a short outside the text, like do it by chapters, by few section of chapters. So chapter 1 through 11, kind of in a half, through half of 11, are about like the primeval history, the early beginnings. So that's what we're going to study. So to begin, the word Genesis means beginning in Greek, and it is from the Septuagint, which is the Greek version of the Hebrew Bible. Hebrew is a language that the Jews speak, and Greek is the language that the people from Greece speak. From chapter 1, which is a chapter of creation, it's important to note that the Holy Trinity is present at all times. The Holy Trinity includes God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. We can see how God speaks in plural in Genesis 3:22, as well as we can see it in the New Testament in John 1:1. Chapter 2, marriage is an extremely important part of creation. Adam and Eve were made to be companions and to be together, and God literally says it's not good for man to be alone. They were also completely innocent, so that they had no idea that they were naked, which nowadays we know that would be inappropriate. So we have to wear clothes. Next chapter, the fall of man. Disobedience is often the first step towards sin. Adam and Eve disobeyed and sinned equally. They each said, "Yes, I will eat of this. I will eat of this forbidden fruits that I'm not supposed to be eating of." So, yes, they were both at fault. They both made the mistake. Neither of them is better than the other. And they went on to have kids. Cain and Abel. Cain's offering was not his first fruits, not his best. He brought fruits, and then God wanted a sacrifice, like an animal sacrifice, like Abel, which would have been Abel's best. So God wanted the first fruits, like the best. Cain is cursed and has been marked forever, because he kills his brother Abel. God, remember, it's important to remember that God is not a human, he is spirit. It's important to remember that, because in this part, Cain is like, "God, you hidden your face from me," and all that. He is a spirit, but it helps us to understand him, because when we say he has a face, hands, feet, etc., although Jesus was completely human and man when he was on earth, however, God the Father is an everlasting spirit. There's parts in the Bible, for example, one part where Moses catches a glimpse of him, and then he literally is basically blinded for a while. But yeah, God's the spirit, not a human. It's important to know that. Now chapter 5 is from Adam to Noah, which is extremely crucial, because this is the line where Jesus would come from, and we can read that in Matthew chapter 1. In Luke, we also see that Seth is the father of the godly line of Jesus, of the bloodline of Jesus. So yeah, it's a lot of names, just like every other like genealogy chapter that we don't read word by word. I read it, but I don't expect you guys to study it with me, because I'd rather take out the strong parts and to confuse you guys and like get you guys bored. Like, that's the last thing I want to do. The next part is the ark. An important things to note is the ark is made of gopher wood and pitch. So gopher wood is probably cedar or cypress. Oh, wood, we don't know exactly what it was. And then pitch was tar, sticky like glue, cement type of thing. Which there's a lot in the Middle East, so they had a lot. The ark, we think based off the measurements in the Bible, 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. So that's pretty impressive. That is crazy. Yeah, 45 feet high. I mean, just like our Highway 34 here on 23rd Avenue, where Walmart and the mall is like 12 feet. So think of that 12 times, almost times 5. So think of that like that high, like that highway 5 times, kind of. So that was extremely a big ark that clearly supported all the animals and Noah's family. All the animals, 2 of each, male and female. The next part is Noah getting on the ark. So he's aboard with all his family, including his wife, his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who also all had wives, clearly says in the Bible. Noah is very important. Although he is not a perfect human, he is chosen by God because he follows, listens, and respects him. He also lived 950 years. That's crazy. Another part to note and to make sure that we remember is that the flood was real. Not only does the Bible have like very specific things about it, like the water and the ark and all these things, but it also has a lot of strong phrases to affirm like, hey, like this was for real. And that just comes with studying the Bible more and learning more things and maybe watching more videos on it. But it's something that we can trust the Bible that it did happen. Because it took Noah a lot of years to make, and yeah, now we have the rainbow and it's part of his promise. The depth of the flood was about 371 days. The ark rests on the mountains of Ararat. We have no physical evidence of the ark today in 2020. But there's a clue that I found on the internet, and I will link the website down below because they have a lot of different like clues. It's called the Ark Encounter. It says Mount Ararat today in Turkey is a dormant volcano, so it's a volcano that sleeps, and it last erupted in 1840. So they think that because it's a volcano now, it could have erupted back in the day, and the wood and the tar probably wouldn't have survived the hot melting lava. So that's one clue, but we don't officially have any evidence of the ark. But yeah, no physical evidence today. Obviously, it was like thousands of years ago. And the chapter 10, where the rainbow comes into place and God makes his covenant in Genesis 9:12. Humanity can basically govern itself, put up its government. It is the human's responsibility to do so for God, to govern the earth. God governs the universe and he takes care of everything, but mankind was given a very specific job, and so like that's pretty much handed off. And that's something that we didn't look into when we studied Genesis 9, but that's why this video is going on. You remember Noah was drunk. He got drunk. He became like a plant. He started doing plant stuff. The world was a new and different place. So were the plants. So obviously you make wine out of grapes, and yeah. So even though the world was a new and different place, still it was a mistake that Noah did, and Ham ultimately suffered from it forever. In specific, his descendants, the Canaanites, would be cursed. The Canaanites are crazy people that literally rebelled so much against God, and we will see that. I think we're already seeing that in chapter 16 few chapters after 9 that the Canaanites are just pretty much not very good people, and sure enough, like, the curse lives. And lastly, chapter 11 with the Tower of Babel, we learned how that was like super selfish act, trying to reach God, trying to make a name for themselves. If you played the Kahoot, you know what the right answers were, like why they made the Tower of Babel. And again, I want to show the diagram that I put up the first time. So Shem is blessed. His descendants are Semitic, so Jews. I have it here. Here is the diagram. Genesis. My mistake. This is from chapter 10. Noah's sons and descendants. Shem is blessed. Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Middle East people. Japheth is India and Europe, and then Ham is the one that was cursed, so that's Canaanites, also Egypt, Babylon. And then I put here we are probably descendants of Japheth because, well, at least I think I would be because I'm Hispanic and the Spaniards came and they took over Mexico and all that, so yeah, and the Spaniards are from Europe. So I found something really cool when I was even deep searching more. So Ham's curse was specifically for Canaan. A lot of people try to make racism out of it. Obviously, racism is not something that God is okay. He does not make an exception of persons. Jesus Christ died for everyone. God offered the ark to everyone, and people did not accept that there's no exception of, like, there's no preferences. But in specific, Ham's descendants, the Canaanites, were the people that were cursed. Shem's line goes all the way to Jesus in Luke 3:36, where it talks about the genealogy, like the line to Jesus. Shem is literally mentioned. And then Japheth means to enlarge. And I'm just thinking like India and Europe. Oh my gosh, like those are the places that have expanded the most. I mean, economically, the Europeans came all the way to United States, which was like the unknown land, and they thought it was India. So, and then India's like super huge. So yeah, Japheth's like name still lives on because the Europeans are still expanding, and sure enough, they're just crazy. So interesting how the names have like meaning even till this day. So that was basically it. Yeah, Shem's line. And then the last chapter is the Tower of Babel. Is chapter 11. So basically, again, the people, I've already mentioned this a little ago, people try to reach God, impossible. God comes down, confuses the language, and yep. And then the next part of that, oh, and then that's where we get all the different languages from. And then the next part of chapter 11 is from Shem to Abram, which is the next story that we're already studying. So stay tuned for next week so we can continue Abram and Sarai's story. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new, because I definitely learned a lot by just making this video and like studying it. And yeah, it's just been stuff that I've been looking online, and I'll put the few resources that I got in the description box. Alright, hopefully I get to see you guys on Sunday, and yeah, that's it. Bye bye.